When starting this project, I'm using white drawing paper. I'm focusing on a measuring tool to help me get proportions properly, whether it's a pencil I'm using as a measuring tool, an imaginary grid or a real grid, a string, or even me just focusing on contours. Whatever method you use, focus on height, width, and depth. Now my angle is different than the angle you are seeing in the large screen, so I have to pay attention to my angles. Now the figure is to my left, not frontal. If it's frontal, always try to look for that negative space and keep it visible so that when you are drawing, you have a clear positive negative space to look upon. Now I'm trying to focus specifically in between where the negative space actually is on the arm side. And then I slowly start moving towards the outside. Now, at certain points, I am not holding the pencil properly. Remember, you should use your pinky as a brace so that the pencil stays horizontal straight. Lock your arms out. You can squint your eyes as well. I did mess up on my proportion. It was supposed to be 6 heads tall. I used the mannequin's head as my measurement tool as well, and I rushed it a little bit. Now, sometimes when you are rushing, you get things wrong, and it's okay. You can take your time and erase or redo once you realize you have a problem. Now, I also did start off with a gesture drawing to see if I can get the pose a lot easier. Again, height, width, and depth for those lines. But again, I was going a little fast in the start, and sometimes when you start off wrong, everything continues wrong. So take your time when you're using your measurements, your gesture drawings, how you're using your measuring tools so that you can fit your image however you feel like it belongs on the page. Now do try to take up the whole page or no smaller than your hand. Try to keep it neat. If you can even make a border and fit your image inside the border. But this project is definitely about learning how to see and taking your time and looking for those negative space, the shapes in between the figure. Now I have on the right side, the arm that I started off first, it actually doesn't look so clear because it's merging into the figure. From the angle that I was looking at, the hand is not really separated with negative space. But if you look at the other hand, it's completely separated with negative space. I'm trying to stay diagonally when I'm doing the general strokes of darkening the backgrounds of the negative space. And then when I feel like I'm more confident, I darken it even harder. I'm using a B pencil. You can use chalk or a B pencil, but if you use chalk, do know it's going to get messy. And it's okay if it doesn't come out perfect. The whole point of the project is to practice negative space. Handing in your work on time is the most important thing with any art project, or giving yourself a deadline and listening to that deadline by time management. Like anything you do in life, you have to plan. Now here I feel a little bit more confident, so I'm starting to darken everything. Later on in time, I realized that my leg space is still too wide. There's something called artist blindness. Sometimes you don't see stuff until the very end. And yeah, my spatial negative space was not the most correct, I should say. I am hoping with time I can produce better videos that are a lot clearer and audio-wise very much more improved. But for now, this is what I can come up with. I hope it's easy to understand, see, and practice with. I am using my eraser. You can draw with an eraser as well. There are certain points that I feel I want to make more exaggerated or slim some of the black parts. Now, because my gesture drawing was light and my proportion outlines was light, it was easier to erase. You never want to go in heavy when you're making those beginning lines in any project. You want to do a light sketch first. And as you can see, I'm going dark with my B pencils. I'm using a B4, a B2, and then I'm just switching between all my pencils. But I was definitely comfortable with my B4 pencil. And then at one point I decided to use my willow chalk that I had on hand. Now, of course, it got messy. It got darker. And I decided to use tissue paper to smooth it out. But you will learn if you use tissue paper, you're actually lifting up the charcoal, so it's actually lightening the page. It does make a smoother texture on your page, but then I had to go over it again with the charcoal and the pencil. Now, to stay neat and just not to worry about the mess, please stay with the highest B pencil you can go. I believe it goes up to B9 or even the F pencils. But look into your set and see what you have provided for you. I really enjoyed this project. I actually sat down for like about an hour in total to get this project done. Now I'm using a very complicated figure that not many people really want to do. That's why the hanger and the other objects in the syllabus is there. So please stick with the simpler objects. Now you will see that I'm also using a board, and this is a clipboard. This is something you can travel with anywhere. The clipboard is actually on an artboard, but I didn't want the texture of the artboard, and you can see it's a little bit shorter than what my page would be. And behind it, where the hanger is dangling from, that is a real artboard that we put on easels. You could have a drawing table that tilts. Now, having an artboard is good because it protects you from back pain or just straining yourself when you're creating your artwork. So if you don't have an artboard and you want to make sure you continue drawing, get an artboard, please. I should say continue drawing safely. All right, you can see I'm getting more messy, so I put a paper underneath, a barrier. You can use a barrier at any point, even at the start of your project. Okay, here it's getting really dark, and then I try to smooth it out some more at a certain point. There's the paper. It's just normal facial tissue paper. And then I wanted the darkness, so I used the willow chalk again. Because it is a stick figure, I decided to try to bring the pole back in, so I used my pencil instead of a ruler. I tend to use whatever is on hand. I'm not too picky when I'm working. And you can see I'm using the eraser to redraw certain lines. Creating really good artwork is all about patience, giving yourself enough time to complete the project to how you feel is a finished product. For projects like these where it's practice, I give myself an hour and I try to move on afterwards. Sometimes, a person feels like rushing, and sometimes you feel like slowing down. When you really care about a project, you can even give it days. You can give it 24 hours, 48 hours, and move on. A lot of artists do thumbnails if they're doing illustrations or comics and whatnot, and they'll take days on that before they'll take days to do the finished outlined project. So just take your time, however you feel your length should be. Okay, this negative space project is almost done. I hope you are enjoying it. Keep creating.